Part 1. The Sleepy Husband. In the heart of East Africa, nestled between rolling hills and vast savannas, there was a vibrant village known as Kijiji cha Amani, or the Village of Peace. This village was home to hard-working and joyful people who lived in harmony with nature and each other. Every morning, as the first rays of sunlight pierced the horizon, the village would come to life with the sounds of roosters crowing, children laughing, and the rhythmic clatter of women preparing breakfast. Among these villagers lived a man named Mosi. Mosi was known far and wide, not for his industriousness or his skill in any particular craft, but for his exceptional ability to sleep. His love for sleep was so profound that it had become the defining feature of his life. Mosi could sleep through the loudest storms and the brightest days. While others were awake and active, Mosi was usually found in his small, cozy hut, nestled under layers of blankets, lost in his dreams. Mosi's wife, Amina, was the polar opposite of her husband. Amina was a pillar of strength and resilience. Every morning, she rose before the sun, her movements quiet and graceful as she went about her daily chores. Amina would sweep their small yard, draw water from the well, and prepare breakfast for their two children, Juma and Nia. She would also tend to the animals and make sure everything was in order before the rest of the village stirred from their slumber. Amina loved Mosi dearly, but she often felt a deep sense of frustration. Mosi's love for sleep meant that he rarely helped with the household chores or participated in community activities. This placed a heavy burden on Amina, who found herself juggling numerous responsibilities without much support. Despite this, Amina remained patient and hopeful that one day Mosi would change. Mosi's sleeping habits were the subject of much gossip and amusement among the villagers. Children would often mimic his loud snoring, and adults would shake their heads in disapproval as they watched Amina toil alone. The village elder, Baba Kiongozi, had spoken to Mosi many times, urging him to be more responsible, but his words seemed to fall on deaf ears. Mosi would nod politely, promising to do better, but as soon as he returned home, he would be drawn back to his bed. One particularly sunny morning, Amina awoke to the sound of birds chirping outside their window. She stretched and glanced at Mosi, who was still sound asleep, his mouth slightly open and a faint snore escaping his lips. With a sigh, Amina slipped out of bed and began her daily routine. She dressed in a colourful kanga, a traditional cloth adorned with intricate patterns, and tied her hair back with a matching headscarf. As Amina stepped outside, she was greeted by the cool morning breeze and the sight of her neighbours starting their day. Mama Chiku, an elderly woman with a warm smile, was already at her vegetable garden, tending to her plants. Amina waved at her and received a cheerful greeting in return. The village was alive with activity, and Amina felt a pang of longing for Mosi to be a part of it. Amina's first task was to fetch water from the well, which was located at the centre of the village. She picked up 2 large clay pots and balanced them on a wooden yoke across her shoulders. As she walked, she marvelled at the beauty of her surroundings. The village was a tapestry of colours and sounds, with mud brick houses painted in earthy tones, children playing games, and the distant hum of livestock. When Amina reached the well, she was joined by other women who had come to fetch water. They chatted and laughed as they worked, their camaraderie a source of strength and joy. Amina smiled as she listened to their conversations, but her mind kept drifting back to Mosi. She wished he could experience the sense of community and fulfillment that came from being an active part of village life. Back at home, Amina poured the water into a large basin and began preparing breakfast. She pounded maize to make ugali, a staple dish, and brewed sweet tea flavoured with spices. The delicious aroma filled the air, and soon Juma and Nia, their 2 children, emerged from their room, rubbing their sleepy eyes. "Good morning, Mama," Juma said, giving Amina a hug. "Good morning, my dears," Amina replied, kissing them both on the forehead.